Hi, my name is Kaya Hodge, and today I'm going to tell you why there should be stricter control over who can own and use a gun. Before we jump into the pros and cons, I'd like to get you to imagine something. You're sitting in class and the projector humming softly when the distant bang jolts you upright. Your teacher's voice trembles, lockdown. Panic spreads as everyone rushes to the corner of the room. You pull out your phone, fingers shaking, and text your parents, "I love you." Footsteps echo outside, followed by muffled voices. You squeeze your friend's hands, heart racing in sync. Silence stretches, then a loud crash rattles the door. You hold your breath, praying for safety, knowing that the world outside has changed forever. Thousands of children in this country alone experience that exact scenario. But if that doesn't make you believe that we need stricter gun control laws, then here's a more holistic, legal side of the argument. I'd first like to start talking about the Second Amendment. And the Second Amendment is not an unlimited or individual right to own guns. The Second Amendment was intended to protect the right of militias to own guns, not the right of individuals to own guns. Former Justice John Paul Stevens, in his dissenting opinion for the District of Columbia et al. V. Heller, wrote, quote, "The farmer's single-minded focus in crafting the Constitutional's guarantee to keep and bear arms was on military uses of firearms, which they viewed in the context of service and state militias, hence the inclusion of the phrase well-regulated militia." While the argument can be made that because the militia was made up of all able-bodied men from the ages of 17 to 45, I would like to bring us back to what the Constitution actually says. Michael Wadman, president of the Brennan Center for Justice in the New York University School of Law, stated that there is nothing about an individual right to bear arms in the notes about the Second Amendment when it was being drafted, discussed, or ratified. This has gone over several times, and we have yet to find anything that says that we should protect the individual rights to own a gun. This brings me to my second point, is more gun control laws will reduce gun deaths. There were 572,537 total gun deaths between 1999 and 2016, 336,579 suicides, 213,175 homicides, and 11,428 unintentional deaths. Guns were the leading cause in homicides this year. Approximately 50% of unintentional fatal shootings were self-inflicted, and most unintentional firearm deaths were caused by friends and/or family members. Having a gun in the house increases the likelihood of violence. Having a gun around increases the likelihood that other people will die, either at your hands or a family member's hands. A study published in the American Journal of Public Health found that, quote, "legal purchase of a handgun appears to be associated with long-lasting increased risk of violent death," close quote. Researchers found that a, quote, "general barrier to firearm access created through state regulation can have a significant deterrent effect on male suicide rates in the United States. Permit requirements and bans on sales to minors were most effective of the regulations analyzed," close quote. When we impose stronger gun control regulations, we are not only protecting ourselves, but we are protecting others. So, in conclusion, why should there be stricter control over who can own and use guns? The first reason is the Constitution. By restricting which individuals can own and use a gun, you are not infringing on any constitutional rights, because in the Constitution, it does not say the individual has the right to own a gun. The second reason is because studies have shown that owning a gun and having a gun around increases the likelihood of gun violence. It also increases the likelihood of homicide, suicide, and death. There should be stricter control over who can use and own guns because the ownership and usage of guns leads to violence, and violence leads to death. And when you put something as powerful as a gun into someone's hands who cannot control it, who does not have the mental capacity, or who does not have the mental control to either take care of that gun or to take care of the people around them, bad things happen. And there are too many bad things happening in this country for us to add another one to our plate.